About that, guys. Sorry about that. Should be better now. Should be looking better now. Alright, there we go. Cool, alright. Download content. All three kings are dead. All three download content is done. I knocked them all out. Got everything. I'm looking splendiferous. Now I'm at the end of the game. I've got 2 bosses left. I've taken out the Throne King Watcher people. So all that's left is to finish the game. So go knock those guys out. I believe I do that right down here, right back in the Dragalactapac Castle. It's been a long road, guys. I mean, we still got it. We're still in it here. I mean, I got 2 more bosses to figure out, including the last guy. So it's not gonna, probably ain't gonna be no cakewalk. But we're doing it. Wrong way. Wrong way. Yeah, here we go. Whew, man, oh man. I'm feeling really good.
My journey is already complete. My name is Shanalot. The dragon gave me this name, for I was born with none. I was born of dragons, contrived by men, by ones who would cozen fate herself. They are the ones who created me. But they failed. I did not come out as intended. Fate would not be bested, and men were cursed once again. If you proceed, Nashandra will come after you, knowing that you will take the throne and link the fire. She covets the first flame and the great soul. Put Nashandra to rest.
Is that it? Right, so I don't know. Didn't mean to do that. Fuck it, I don't care. I'll just deal with it. I don't know how this is gonna work. Probably a lot of deaths inbound, I'm thinking. I'm highly doubtful I'm doing this first time through. All I know is that I've taken out the Throne Watcher and the other person, Defender, whatever. They are obliterated. So, pretty sure what's going to go down is I'm going to deal with that Nash person that she's talking about. I'm going to have to deal with that individual. And then past her is going to be whatever's past her. It's going to be interesting. Let's see, I do have some summon signs, it looks. I have not really co-opted anything. I haven't really done any summons throughout most of this game. I think I did it one time. I co-opted, maybe 2, but I'm pretty sure I did it once. And it wasn't co-op, it was summoning a PvE guy. So, yeah, here we go. Let's see if I can figure it out, see if I can do this. Hold on to your butts. I got my butt thoroughly held on to right now.
Brave undead, you have proven yourself to me.
It's neato.
Now, be one with the dog.
It's totally Naito. It's Naito's little sister. Alright, so how are you gonna work? Looks like summons maybe. This is getting really weird. Shit, man. You see all those curses? Holy damn. Alright, so I'm going to be taking a lot of curse damage. I didn't realize I was taking damage from curse. I thought that was just, you know, kill your health. But apparently, I'm going to need the Ring of Binding, because that is cursing me. And I'm pretty sure the Ring of Binding yeah, okay, it is taking it. I already had it on. Good. Yeah. Shit. I'm gonna have to do that better. I could pop some life gems, I'm thinking, because I'm going to be cursed like crazy, but I was doing really good damage to her, so I'm curious. I was doing really good damage to her. I mean, I was really hurting her. So I think I could do something about that. I could just let my health be as low as it is and deal with it. Just kind of rush her down. I'm thinking I might just rush her down and try and be mindful of her sight swings, which are pretty hard. They're hard to see, hard to predict. She's got a really slow laser beam, which I like seeing because that lets me attack. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what I really want to be able to negate the curse damage that's kicking in. I'd like to get rid of that. And maybe these life gems could keep me going. Alright. Maybe not. Maybe that won't work so well. I mean, I'm taking a ton of damage from that curse. That's a lot more damage than I was taking last round. I mean, that's a lot more damage than I was taking last round. And for some reason, my life gems were not negating the damage I was taking. I might need to experiment. I might need to run around in circles a little bit, see what happens. It does look like I can get away from the curses, but I don't like what they're doing is the problem. You know, it could be that the curse is not hurting me. I mean, it could be she's hurting me being so close to her. It could be that. I can't tell. There's a lot happening here. I'm not familiar with any of it. Like, I've never really been cursed beyond one tick of my max health, which just acts like death. You can get rid of that with a humanity. So either she's doing damage or the curses are doing damage. It doesn't look like I can lock on to the curses. So unless I can run around and hit them, which might be something I can do, I can't lock on to them. That's all I know. Doesn't look like this helps me either. I can't negate the damage that's being done. Let's see. Alright, so they're not actually targetable, but you can swipe at them. Thought there'd be more. I think I could do another. Yeah. Interesting. Shit. I might have done it too early. Yeah. I took a gamble. It was a gamble. That was fine. I was on the right track. That's not hard. I got it. I understand now. That's cool. Can't lock on to those guys. Can't lock on to the summon things. No problem. Yeah, that's not hard. That's actually very favorable for me. I can knock that out without it. No problem. No problem at all. I just took a guess. Did not pay off. Took a guess with that heal. No problem. Should be no problem at all. This one, you watch, internet. You get your eyes ready for this. This is gonna go really well. This is gonna look good. I'm a professional. That's what I am. I will take care of this, no problemo. It will be all bueno. All bueno all day. Maximum bueno. I'm very confident that this will not be that hard. I got it. The only thing that's gonna fuck me up is, well, actually, I guess my low hit points is actually kind of fucking me up. Mostly though, I take a lot of chip damage. I take a lot of tick damage from being cursed and all the curses and shit going on. Plus, I kind of screw up on her scythe a little bit too much, more than I would care to screw up on. So I kind of panicked when my life got low, and I was like, okay, the first time I could heal, I'm gonna do it. And I saw a brief window, took it. It was not a good one. Got me scorched. Got me zapped. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. But I know what it is now. I know what it do. Pretty cool. Interesting. Very odd mechanic, but interesting. I have to be careful about that. Yeah, I'm really bad at that. Okay, ignore that one. Ignore that one. That was a test run. That was just a test run. I wanted to see what she would do. That's all that was. No problem. No problem. No problemo, por favor. Just forget that one. That was a trial run. This is the actual real one. I was just joking before. I wanted to create some tension, make it seem like I'm actually have to try this fight. This it's actually very easy. It really is. It's not gonna be. It's not super hard. I'm just pushing the button too fast. I'm still wrapped up from the last DLC boss where I really had to focus on that. So this is a good way to unwind, to relax. Just be like, okay, very slow swings, very predictable swings. Not a lot happening. This is not a challenging fight. It's just, I just gotta ease into it a little bit. I gotta relax, just kind of let it happen. I don't gotta panic. There's no need to panic. I figured her out. It's all good. And I have a very clear and obvious strat to take her down with, so it's a good deal. It's kind of a nice fight, actually. It's got a little bit of a gimmick with that curse stuff. It's sort of funny. Actually, I sort of like it, even though it's a bit of a gimmick, because it works off of your cursedness, and nothing else has done that yet, which is pretty cool. I like that. I'm gonna drink right on her face. It never came out. It never came out. Might not have been. Yeah, I didn't quite hit it. There we go. Alright, let's get back in there. Very easy. Very easy. No issues. No issues at all. Yeah, very clean, very easy. I don't think she even hit me once, right? I don't think she hit me once. Good stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Let's pop a humanity before whatever the hell that is kicks in. I don't need to visit a bonfire other than to get my souls, which honestly, I'm at the end of the game. I don't care if I lose these souls. It is quite a bit, but I'm okay. I'm okay with losing them. That's all right. Oh, you know what I could do? I never used a soul vessel before. Oh, all right. Never mind. It's all good. I have to show it to someone. It's all good. I can lose 100,000 souls. Oof. Proceed to the throne. All right, guys. So that was kind of the chill out. That was a chill out factor. You know, you could chill, take your time, and have a good time. This is the real fight here. This is the you gotta put on your boy shorts for this. I guess. I hope. Probably ain't no pushover. I'm thinking. I'm guessing. Oh man. End of the game, guys. We're here. I got through it. Dark Souls 2. Like I'm at the last thing. I got through it all. Feels good. Definitely feels good. Oh man, it's a bunch of butthole faces. Really? What a way to go. Oh man, there's sumo wrestling in the middle of the... Oh wait, never mind. They're making a bridge.
You who link the fire. You who bear the curse. Once the fire is linked, souls will flourish anew, and all of this will play out again. It is your choice to embrace or renounce this.
From what I understand, Dark Souls 3, the theory right now is that you do not renew the fire. That's just the theory.
Great Sovereign, take your throne. What lies ahead, only you can see.
Am I done? Did I fuck up? That was it? Wow. Okay, so that's actually the official end of this. So that's the game. Wow. All right. So that's not that. While that's the official ending, there is one more boss you get to fight, and that's the Scholar. So we're going to do that. Defeat Vendrick and Nashandra, which we did, for the boss to become accessible at the Throne of Want. So he's going to pop up now, triggering a new ending. The alternate ending can be triggered by leaving the throne. If you proceed to the throne, it leads to normal ending. I have no idea what that means. So you must defeat Vendrick and Nashandra for the boss to become accessible at the Throne of Want, triggering a new ending. The alternate ending can be triggered by leaving the throne. If you proceed to the throne, it leads to normal ending. I'm actually not clear on that. I don't actually understand what's going on here. I think maybe... You know, I have to actually meet a Scholar at 3 locations that he appears at. So maybe New Game Plus. Okay. I'll investigate a little bit further. But just to be sure, it might not be something I can do until New Game Plus. It's sounding like, because everything I did is what you have to do. You must defeat Vendrick and Nashandra, but you also have to talk to a Scholar in 3 different places, which I don't recall ever doing. So that's interesting. No big deal. I would like to face him, but it sounds like he's a pretty tough mother, and he's not the end game. Apparently, he's just an alternative ending. So I would probably have to do a New Game Plus in order to face him. Yeah, so the deal is in the Throne of Want after the Nashandra boss fight, you cannot see him with a character that has defeated her already, unless you use a bonfire aesthetic. So basically what it is you have to advance the game into a New Game Plus arena, then you can fight him. So he's basically an alternative ending if you want to get a New Game Plus going. That way you can work your way to the ending and fight the guy. Kind of like a reason to New Game Plus beyond, just playing everybody again. You also get to unlock a new boss. Alternatively, you could aesthetic burn one of those things, a bonfire aesthetic, and it advances the stage as if you had hit a new game plus moment or something like that. So the area becomes a new game plus area with everything updated, all that. Sounds like I can't handle that because I'm not new game plus. Yeah, apparently it's a new thing. It unlocks a dark ending. So basically the idea is that when you take the throne and you sit down on the throne, you either decide or not decide if the fire continues to rage or whatever it is. That new game plus ending is an alternative, which is, hey, truth is you don't renew the flame, and you let the flame go out. And supposedly that is setting up for the Dark Souls 3. That's the idea. I don't know if it's true, I don't really know, but it sounds like that's the story at this moment as we know it. So canonically, doing a new game plus mode and killing the first sin, Scholar of the First Sin, is going to give you the what is it, canon ending, canon, whatever, canon ending, whatever, whatever they're going with. So even though that was extremely easy, embarrassingly so. I mean, that was embarrassingly easy to beat that chick up. Game over. We did it. Game's done. We win. We're the winners. Or at least, I guess, I am. No. This is good. Listen. Dark Souls is pretty tough when you don't know how to play it. But once you've played it and you understand how to play it, it really isn't any harder than any other video game. It really isn't. New Game Plus modes, I'm relating those to basically difficulty levels. So if you want to do like a hard mode version, you would do New Game Plus. And obviously each plus after that, it's going to get harder and harder. Really, I think a lot of people are going to do that to PvP. I don't think they're going to be doing that to actually play hard versions of the game. But it's there, and I beat it. So I now play Dark Souls. I'm now a Dark Souls player. Yeah. You know, my overall impression of the game is kind of weird. So I'll just explain this while the credits are going, because obviously it's credits. Who really cares? The deal with Dark Souls is that the basis for how the game is made is very antiquated. Like, for a lot of people, this is actually new. They've never played it. But for me and people who have played games for a long time, the way that this game plays, where you're kind of locked in animations and, you know, you have this I go, you go, I go sort of set strategy. That's how you play the game. That's actually how games used to be made. A lot of action games were made that way. There was a lot of, you know, I'm stuck in here and I can't break out of it sort of deal. It got to the point where there were so many games like that that I was getting really sick of them. And I mean absolutely sick of them. It wasn't until Devil May Cry came around that introduced something different. It introduced the idea of being able to break out of your animations whenever you wanted by jump canceling. That's what they called it there. And it is what it is. You cancel out of whatever you're doing by jumping, and by doing that, you're basically able to make everything safe. It doesn't matter what you did, how you did it, you jump and you're good. Some moves you still were stuck in, but they were very quick, and obviously you knew you couldn't jump out of them. You would use them, you know, appropriately. And that opened the door. That just swung everything open to, holy shit, really? I can do whatever I want, and I can make it safe by jumping? Like, that was the coolest fucking thing on the planet. And I personally still enjoy the shit out of that type of gameplay. That's why Devil May Cry series is the best series to me. Just fucking great. Is because of that. This game is made like those old games. And I haven't played those old games in a long time. Because of that, I actually had a fun time playing this game. It was fun. because it's been a long time since I had to play a game where it was this back and forth thing. And it reminded me of the old days. I mean, you know, way back when. It was kind of interesting, you know, kind of nice. You know, at the same time, I could see why people don't enjoy it. I could see why this is not going to be like a AAA top tier title for a lot of people. It's not going to reach Call of Duty. It's not going to reach Halo. You know, it's not going to reach Assassin's Creed. You know, whatever you want to franchise or syndicate, whatever you want to call it. This is always going to be kind of a niche. It's going to be kind of a niche, but a fucking nice niche. My only hope with the series, right now, after playing Dark Souls 2, is that they further refine it by removing the things that a lot of people hate, not just me. We want less monsters in the way. We don't want them in the way anymore. We want to be able to get to the bosses. Either we can speedrun them, or we don't have to, they're just not there. Whatever the case is, we do not want to deal with monsters each and every single time we want to fight a boss. I personally had to miss out on 2 optional bosses because there's a ton of monsters in the way, and I just don't want to deal with that shit. It's boring. Totally boring. Find a little bit better way of doing the controls. I feel like there's too much here. There's too much going on. Having the run and jump is not very consistent with when you can do it and how you can do it. The finite control level of how you control Dark Souls 2 needs to be improved, and it needs it. This feels like a game that came out in the PS3 era. We need to make it feel like a game that's come out in the PS4 era. It needs to be more precise. It needs to feel good. It needs to be there. When I run and I see my foot go into that run, I need to be able to leap every single time. Not mash the jump or anything like that. It needs to be there and ready. We can do it. We have the technology. It's absolutely available. It's not an issue. It's not hard to do. It just needs to be refined to that point. With that said, it is only these real fine details that need to be addressed. And honestly, this is one of the better controlled games I've ever played. One of the better. It moves the way that I feel it should move. It doesn't feel like tank controls. It works really well. It's a very, very impressively good control scheme up until you start trying to get real detailed about it, until you're trying to do multiple things at once. Other than that, we're good to go. I think the controls are pretty fair. Otherwise, I think they're rather relaxed as a general rule. They respond to when I do things. I would like the dodge button to be kind of its own thing rather than the same button as run. Mostly because I catch myself instinctively holding the button sometimes, trying to get a roll instead of mashing. And then I end up running when I want to mash for a roll. It's a lot of wire. It's just a lot of wiring issues up here. It's muddy. I would prefer its own dedicated button. Doesn't need it, but it would help a lot if somehow you could do it. But there's already a lot on here, so that maybe, you know, another direction needs to go. Not a big deal. But yeah, the finite controls need to be improved. Monsters need to be not in the fucking way of bosses. I would like the area to be constructed in a more realistic fashion. And by that I mean I don't want it to feel like video games. I want it to feel like I'm a part of a world that I can walk over. Like right over there, if I go down there, I want to be able to go to one area. From that area, I want to be able to go to another, or maybe multiple others. I want to be able to go from area to area to area and have it feel like a real living world. This stuff here, being able to bonfire wherever I want, takes that away a bit. It really pushes into the scope of you're playing a video game, and these are stages. That's what it feels like when I'm doing this rest at the bonfire stuff. When I watch Dark Souls 1 and I watch Demon Souls, that shit is like a world. They really give a great impression of it being like a thing where people lived and then some shit happened. It doesn't feel like this here. It definitely feels like set pieces. I would love to see it like Dark Souls 1 in that respect. And that could happen. It maybe not. I don't know. The likelihood is kind of up in the air. But I think they can do it. and I'm certain a lot of people have complained about it. And we talked about the elevator, the lava stage elevator that was awkward. It was awkward, you know. What can you do? It was awkward. You could just get rid of that stuff. If somehow you could make it a real world, I think that would go a real long ways. Just a really, really, really long ways to kind of capturing the back Dark Souls 1 players. Because I realize now what Dark Souls 1 players mean when they say all the things that they mean, like why they don't like this game very much. There are a lot of changes that take away from the glamour of Dark Souls, from the aesthetics of Dark Souls, what it looks like and how it feels. There's a lot of changes that take it away. I understand now what they mean. And I do agree with them. I prefer how Dark Souls 1 did it. But, I mean, this is still a fantastic video game. This is a video game, and you realize that you are playing a video game. Whew. I think that's really my only complaints. Like, I would appreciate it if bosses were a little bit more, I really liked most of the bosses in Dark Souls 2. I fought them well, they felt well. I would say half of them were too easy in that they didn't do enough damage, or I could damage them a little too easily. A little bit more would have been nice. Just a little bit more. It doesn't need to be... The one thing you don't want is the Fume Knight. I don't want the Fume Knight again. Stay away from Fume Knight tactics. When a guy swings and he has options after that swing, make it obvious what that swing is going to be. Don't have him hold the sword in one way after a swing and then have three possible chances of an overhead, a wide sweep, or a quick thrust with a third weapon. Don't do that. It takes away from the fun of what Dark Souls is. The basic mechanic of, this is what he's doing, I dodged it, now give me my reward. You don't get that reward when you throw that in, when you throw this random factor in there that you cannot adjust to. It's not fun. What ends up happening is that people come up with builds that cheese the shit out of that encounter. And then you're left with, oh, well, you can beat this boss, but you have to cheese it, and you can't do it with your build, or some shit like that. That is not so fun. You got to be careful about that. But that was only like one guy. That was like one guy. I think there was a second guy I had trouble with that I didn't like. It's okay. Most of the bosses were fun. I had a good time. What's up, Infected? Since you are through the DLCs, I can pop in here. Oh, you were avoiding them? I'm so sorry, man. I didn't know you were doing that. I apologize. I'm glad I put that in the title so that you didn't spoil or anything like that. Let's see. What's up? But one thing I'm pretty sure the warping unlocked from the beginning is a convenience thing. True. And I can't fault them for doing that. It is a convenience thing. It might be that they cannot create a world where you have fast travel, because this is the same type of problem that was talked about with Skyrim, where you could fast travel, and people had mods where you can lock it, but people were still like, this doesn't feel like a very big world. They liked Oblivion a lot better. Even though that game had fast travel too, you could only fast travel to cities. You couldn't fast travel to other places, I think. I'm trying to think about that. Maybe I'm wrong. But for the most part, fast travel, it ruins the whole immersion factor, the whole level-based factor, and it turns things into stages. Honestly, I feel like this game was built around the idea that bonfire would get you around. That's really what I feel about with this game. It shouldn't be that way. The bonfires should still be teleportable and all that stuff, like Dark Souls 1, but built around the idea that people won't be using them primarily. Like, think about all the shortcuts, okay? There was tons of shortcuts I found for bonfires on these different levels, right? But I never really used them. There was no real reason to use them. They would not... There was another bonfire, you know, just a few steps away, or it was just, there was no reason to go back to that area and use the shortcut. You know what I mean? Why use a lot of these shortcuts? They just were not necessary. But in this last DLC, there's actually a couple of shortcuts that were useful, because they take you back to the main bonfire that you could unlock in there. So they all, instead of peppering the place with bonfires, they had like a nice central bonfire that had a lot of shortcuts to get to it. That's better. But that requires the world to be built that way. And I feel like that world was. I feel like the Ivory DLC was built to be like that, whereas the main game here, it definitely feels like everything is a stage rather than actual kind of go-to-it sort of business. I don't mean to say that this is a huge detriment. It's just something I would like to see in Dark Souls 3, is to plan around the idea that it's a world that you could travel around. I would like to avoid kind of like the stages here. And I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, Infected. I'm not talking. I'm just kind of, I'm really feeling the hype here. Like I got through all of Dark Souls 2. Like I'm the fucking man. I'm feeling it really good. So I'm kind of on a roll. Let's see. You straight up had a hub. Yeah, that's true. There was still a hub that you had in the Demon Souls. Yeah, level building. It isn't what it's not that fast travel ruins it, and it's not that having a hub ruins that whole idea. It's exactly as you say. You know, you could Demon Souls still had a lot of set pieces, but they managed to make it feel like it was an actual world by having a lot of shortcuts to like kind of one or two bonfires, or having the level design feel like you're going from place to place rather than jumping directly from, you know, stage to stage. It felt like you were traveling from place to place rather than just going from a stage to another stage. I did get that sense of here, and it would be nice not to have it, but at the same time, like how you get that, you really need to build for it. You need to build towards it. You can't just have it. You know what I mean? Because you've got these fast travel points, which I think we need. We need these fast travel points. And Dark Souls 1 had them, so I mean, we can make it work. I think it's just you got to build with that in mind. So it's absolutely possible. I'd love to see it in Dark Souls 3. Other than that, I think that's all my gripes. Like, I mean, that's all I have. And listen, like, I say they're gripes, but I came back to this game. I've played this game 8 days. For 8 days, I've been playing this video game. And when I'm at work and shit, like, I was thinking about it. Like, I wanted to come back and play this game some more. It's a good game. It's nice to play. There's a lot of frustrating things about it, but I think there's more fun things about it. And honestly, they could make those frustrating things less frustrating if they just listen to the player feedback. And they will listen to the player feedback. I mean, they have to. That's how you make games. Yeah. I'm actually really happy about this. This is good stuff. Shit. I guess that's it, man. Here we go. Dark Souls 2 done. It's all finished. I'm all done. Yay. So for Dark Souls 3, I want to give a little bit more impression about my dual wield build. My dual wield build was actually pretty fun, and I came to appreciate a little bit more the dual wield attack that you get. You know, being able to do that. I like that. I've come to appreciate it quite a bit. I think the issue that I have with it is that a lot of content is not really built with that in mind. I feel like in a way to, how do I want to word this? There's a lot of bosses where you cannot just roll. Yeah, you can, but it's very clear that you're going to be at a disadvantage. It's not an optimal strategy. It felt a lot like I am losing too much when I dual wield. The way the game is built, it almost feels like the game is designed from a shield block perspective, or at least have a block on hand. So a great sword block, any block. Parry, not so much. I think a parry is just something you get. But for blocking, it definitely feels like the game intended for you to have a block. And when you lose it for dual wielding, that really hurts. It makes it much harder. Like, I mean, we had people pop in here saying, man, you're going dual wield on your first try. That's pretty hardcore. You know, that's roughing it, you know, real Dark Souls style. And I see why it is. Because there's so many times where your best option really is to block. And if you can block stuff, you can figure things out much faster without getting punished and stuff like that. So it's a big deal. It is a big deal. Yeah, definitely a problem, I think, when it comes to dual wielding. I think, just my opinion here, it feels like a build that is not intended to be good. It feels like a build that's viable, but it isn't particularly good. Like, I think out of all the builds that you can go for, I don't think they wanted dual wielding to be at the top. It's probably low tier build wise. I think there's a lot more potential in any other build. Even dual wielding greatswords is probably better, but even with the build that I have, if you dual wield like maces that could stun the shit out of stuff, that's definitely better. There's a lot of special things you could do to make dual wielding better. But I think when you compare it as an optimizing strategy, I think all the dual wielding falls short of what the game expects you to have, which is some blocking and maybe even some parry. I definitely feel like this is the weakest that you could go with, is dual wielding. You lose out on something so big as blocking, and you don't gain anything for it. You do damage, but it doesn't really matter if you do a little bit more damage, because you still have to swing a second time to kill the guy. And there's some math problem there that's not super great. It favors conservative play, and a dual wielding stance I don't think favors a conservative play. I think you've got to really be dedicated to wanting to dual wield and having to make it work. I think the type of work that you put into a dual wield build, if you were to put towards a different build, you would find that you have more success. That's my impression. Given I dual wield literally starter longswords. These are two swords that I bought at the start of the game. That's obviously just my opinion. It can be better than how I had it, for sure. It could definitely be a lot better than I had it. But I feel even if I had it better, the option of not being able to block or, have the range of the greatswords and stuff like that, that's a big fun. Having the range is huge. Maybe even the speed, because some of those two-handers were really quick. I feel like you just lose out too much. I really do. And the game just wasn't really that designed for it. So, yeah, you probably need to pump adaptability at a bit higher. I mean, I have 19 adaptability. I was told 25 is a really good number to get up to that, because then you get your last very easy iframe. Definitely, I 100% agree with that statement. The better your adaptability, the better it is. I would say 20 to 25, definitely. I would definitely say that for adaptability. Pure optimization is probably still magic builds. Hexes are extremely powerful when I play Dark Souls 2. I would say so. I would say that's true. It's... Honestly, I don't know much about magic, though. I couldn't honestly say. But it does seem like magic damage on enemies is huge compared to their physical damage. But that's enemies. I can't honestly say for sure. I don't know what the most optimal would be, but I'm really certain that if we were to go look it up right now, it would not be a dual wield build. I think it would definitely be like a two-hander. Maybe if we want to stretch it, like a dual-wielding two-hander or something like that. It's probably magic, it's probably ranged, like those crossbows, those repeating crossbows. You get 2 attacks worth of damage in the time frame that you only get 1. That's not really true. I was hitting people with my one hand a lot, and then I would do my two-hand because it would take a little bit longer to recover. I was not doing more damage with that two-hit. You also need to consider that second attack, your one sword is actually going to reach out longer than the other. Like, take a look right here really quick. Make sure I don't hit nobody. So, you see how my left blade is actually much longer than my right? My right weapon is not extending out at an equal range. And I've noticed that if I am clipping someone at max range, I'm actually only hitting them with one sword. And so I lose all that stamina for just that one sword. It really doesn't work out. The idea is that you get more damage in that one swing, sure, but I don't feel like the idea... A lot of the time I was not getting that. I was not getting the bonus. I never got it. Like, I used it. I used it a lot. The more proficient I got with dual wielding, the more I used that two-handed swing, the double thing. And just a lot of the time I found that the damage really wasn't worth the stamina cost. I would much rather, do the one-hand thing and have more stamina, because I'm going to have to swing a bunch of times anyways. Like, there's definitely an optimization problem on those two fronts. And then you have to consider what you're losing out on, blocking or parrying or, just two-hand range, stuff like that. But again, it's definitely viable. I mean, look, I beat the game, first-time player. I just totally beat the shit out of all the DLC in the game, no problem, Like, I mean, it was kind of a problem, but not really a problem. Like, I overcome everything. I overcame all of it. And I have 2 basic longswords, so it's a viable build. I just think out of all the builds, it's probably the hardest. Dual wielding is probably the most you have to put the work into. Maybe it's different in PvP. Like, it could definitely be different in PvP. It might be this could be a player versus player build for all I know. But yeah, and then the heavy swing, like, I could never get the use of that heavy swing. Like, I would try and use it as like a stamina dump. I really, on the fume night, I clipped them by accident. It's like, I don't know. It's a strange set of tools that I could not apply to a lot of scenarios. I think that's how I feel about it. I have a lot of tools, dual wielding, and a lot of them just didn't feel that useful. So I imagine the greatswords is probably better. And honestly, I keep saying greatswords because there's a ton of greatswords in this fucking game. There's almost like no one-hand basic longswords in this game, like magical ones or different ones. There's very few. One of them, the one I got was fucking DLC stuff, so it was really weird. But there's a ton of greatswords, and you can one-hand the greatswords and dual wield them. Maybe that's intended. Maybe that's the deal. I honestly don't know. I couldn't say, but I did like that I did this. I actually really enjoyed that I did this deal. Did I ever switch Covenant? I never switched a Covenant. There's still optional boss you can fight. There's still a couple of optional bosses I can fight. For one thing, I can't do the Scholar of the First Sin because I have to New Game Plus the Watcher Throne area. So I would have to go back there and New Game Plus it in order to fight that guy. I don't think I could just walk in there and be good to go. Yeah. I'm going to check that out. I'm going to make absolutely certain. I'm going to be absolutely certain. Oh, look at that. Begin Journey 2. Yeah, look at that. Let me go back and be sure that guy will not pop up. Because I'm like 90% certain the guy will not pop up. I have to advance into New Game Plus to get the Scholar to First Sin. Yeah, but there are a couple optional bosses I have missed. And that's cool. That's no problem. I don't really care to go do them because I've actually seen a few of them, and they're not like wildly crazy things. They're just side bosses. It's really not a big deal. Yeah. So let's go make absolutely sure I need to do the thing. Yeah, I killed Vendrick and got that stuff. Oh, you know what? I didn't... Oh, that's right. I can't... This won't work because I didn't talk to the Scholar at 3 different spots. Or did I? You know what? I take that back. I might have actually talked to the Scholar at 3 different spots. I definitely take that back. He popped up... That was the weird face guy that kept popping up all the time. In the fires, He would just randomly... just pop out. I did talk to him 3 times and said yes on his Covenant, which doesn't matter. But the thing is he should not be here because I'm pretty certain you need to beat Nashandra Bamadam and then go do it. So I'm pretty sure this is over. In that I'd have to New Game Plus or burn a bonfire thing to take the guy out. And if I have to New Game Plus, I'd probably get my ass kicked because that's a lot of stats that they're getting, and I will not have the stats for it. Yeah, it's looking like it's not going to happen. So, something about, like, when you reach this point and you kill the chick, instead of taking that thing, you actually have to walk out the door. And it won't work on New Game, because you have to actually activate that throne. You have to walk away from the throne. And if you haven't, activated the throne, then you're no good. It definitely is a New Game Plus thing. 23 great swords, 18 straight swords. There you go. But finding those great swords is the problem. The thing is, I mean, you could find great swords super easy. And let's see here. How many? Let's take a look here. Broken thief swords, mannequin knife, short sword. Okay, so there's a short sword. We got one there. There's a type. That's 2, 3. Do we want to count the broken ones? I guess that could be 4. There's a 5, a 6, a 7. No, that's a curved. 8, 9. That's a magical one. 10. That's a fume knight. That's a good one. 11. That's the DLC. And then that's it. So I personally have found 11. Great swords. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Scimitar though. 13. Warped sword. That's a straight sword. That's not a two-hander. There's a 1. So yeah, okay. Yeah, it generally curved nil greatsword. All right, there's that. Washi pull. That's a two-hander. Katanas, obviously. Mail breaker. Yeah, those are thrusting swords, so those are one-handed. Black scorpion stinger. Yeah, that's a thrust. Ice rapier. That's a rapier. That's a straight sword, but it's a thrusting sword, so that's different. There's some axes. It doesn't look like I got a lot of axes. Yeah. Some maces. Yeah, definitely not a lot of maces. Yeah, so I guess the problem really is that there's not a lot of straight swords. There's a lot of straight thrusting weapons. There's a lot of variation, it looks. Slash thrust, that's supposed to be. You got some daggers, I guess. Yeah, it counts as a straight sword. Yeah, so there's some classification kind of going on there. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot more great swords. And then this is just stuff that I grabbed. I didn't grab like nearly as many as I saw. Yeah, that's just the classification. So once we break it down, we see that there's a lot more of the other stuff. But I don't have all the stuff either. I haven't bought all the two-hand stuff. Like, I have not tried to get two-hand stuff, and I definitely have more, like, variation two-hand stuff than I do, you know, one-hand swords. Not a big deal, but it definitely feels like the game is kind of pushing you in that direction a little bit. And I think that actually makes sense due to the fact that you can dual wield them. And I mean, you could dual wield them. So technically, all two-hand swords are one-hand swords if you got the stats. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense to me. Pretty interesting. But in any case, yeah, there's always stuff that are rare drops and everything too. But I think in general, I think like the ease of access, the game probably is like, here's a two-hand, you know, here's a great sword, here's a two-hander. You know, it doesn't have to be a sword, it could just be a two-hander, you know. I think the game kind of gives you more of those than anything else. Which again, you can one-hand them, so it really isn't a big deal. Personally, I never found anything looked better to me than these long swords. I liked them, they were awesome. We got kind of close with one that was the DLC lightsaber that comes out when you swing it. Honestly, I can't power stance it, which is the only problem I have. But those are my thoughts. I mean, absolute thoughts. When you lose out on shield, you lose out on a lot. So, Dark Souls 3, I'm not going to hold myself to any kind of build. I'm just going to kind of take what I get. If I got a cool axe, if I got a cool sword, if I got a cool anything, I'm just going to kind of do a general focus like I did here. Strength, dex, you know, health and stamina, whatever they end up being. And then I'm just going to use the cool shit that I got. I think that's a much smarter approach to Dark Souls than doing what I did here, where I was like, oh, I really want to dual wield and I want a cool, sick-ass looking swords, you know? Yeah, I mean, obviously I did it, but it's nowhere near as fun. I think a lot of the fun comes out of, you know, what do I have and, you know, using different weapons along the way. And basically what I'm saying is I had my fun. Like, I really squeezed out as much dual wield as I can, and I feel good about it. I'm super glad that I beat the whole game with it. Like, it feels great. But at the same time, I'm sitting there thinking, you know, really wanted to try Greatsword. Would have loved to have, you know, fooled around with some scythe crap, you know, all that stuff. I would have loved some shields. I got some cool looking shields I never got to use. Yeah. This game is great for customizing. Like, it's all viable, even though you have to work harder at some of it than others. And then there's certain bosses that you can really take advantage of a build. Like, there's a few bosses that were definitely weak to me unloading a ton of damage on them. So, I mean, it works out in the end. It is definitely, all of it is viable. Jesus. Yeah, I divulged a lot. Like, those are all my thoughts. Man, like, I really do appreciate you guys having showed up and hung out. I'm infected. I'm sorry that I'm sorry that I had DLC stuff going. I didn't realize you didn't want to see it. It's totally cool that you didn't show up for that stuff, and I apologize. Hopefully I somehow gave you some advance warning on that. I didn't mean to, like, I kind of just jumped into it, but I updated the title and everything to make sure that people knew where I was at. I kind of did that for YouTube though. Pilgrims of the Dark of Wheelchair Guide, then finish the 3 mini dungeons that you unlock from that. Yeah, that's a side stuff someone pointed out, but you know, it's all side stuff. Like, I kind of had my fill. Like, I've taken out all the bosses, you know. Honestly, the DLC bosses really took it out of me. Like, I didn't like a lot of their design. A couple of them, I didn't like their design, how they play, how you have to fight them. It didn't feel very good. Getting through them was a bit of a slog. Really, just a Fume Knight is what stands out. The other guys, there was some nuanced stuff that really made me not like it as much. But really, it's just the Fume Knight really took it out of me. Like, before the Fume Knight and after the Fume Knight, I feel different playing this game. Now that I had to fight that guy. Yeah, you saw the title, that's good. I don't want to fight another boss. Well, it's all optional stuff, and that's the problem. Like, there's a lot of bosses I haven't fought in this game. Like, there's the Rat Covenant stuff that I haven't done. There's bosses in there. You know, like you said, the dark, whatever. There's a couple of bosses I didn't bother killing, even though I faced them down and basically won. I didn't bother fighting them because they're hiding behind a million different monsters. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to have to grind through several monsters just to get my shot at a boss. I don't want to do it. It's a complete time killer, totally uninteresting, and ugh, I hate it. It's one of those things that everybody says they hate about Dark Souls 2 is that they put a bunch of shit in the way. You can't speed run it. You got to kill them to get to the boss. It's like, oh, it's just an annoyance. So I'm not doing that either. I'm skipping that stuff. I did fight them, and I got pretty far on both times. I did pretty good, but I just didn't want to bother with all that monster slaying. I've already got, like, how much time do I have in this? Do you guys have any idea? Like, let me go look. I got way more time in this, I think, than like most any other PlayStation 4 game I've ever played. With the exception of fighting games, because I don't really know how long I've played those for. But I must have racked up, like, easily 60 hours to this game. Like, I must be at 60 hours by now. Also, I'm fucking starving. I am so hungry right now. 57 hours. Almost 58. 57 hours, 51 minutes, and 49 seconds. Holy shit. So, okay, not 60 hours. I could have swore 60 hours. But really close. Look at that. That is so close. 60 hours. Over 8 days. 60 hours over 8 days. Like, wow. That is... And, you know, like, a lot of that was just me dealing with the basic monsters. When I got to the bosses, like, I could handle the bosses. Other than, like, both DLC endgame bosses. Or it did take quite a bit of time to knock those guys out. I don't think I had as serious a trouble as I had with those guys. Yeah, I don't think I had serious trouble as I did with those guys. And they're DLC, so I think they're kind of meant to be hard, you know? It's download content. You should be getting some bang for your buck. Fume Knight is the hardest boss in the game with a 93% failure rate. Well, you see, that's what I mean. Like, I talked about it before. The guy has 3 branching options from the very same attack animation that he has. So when he pulls back on his greatsword, he either clobbers you, sweeps you, or pokes you with his other weapon. You just don't know what it's going to be. So what you have to do is choose an action that covers as many of those 3 options as you can. And for me, I would roll to his left and delay. I would delay roll to his left, and it would eliminate 2 of those options, and I would get hit with the 3rd. And then on my winning round, I just got lucky that he never did his 3rd when I did that. So yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I hope they don't do that ever again, because that is some aggravating shit that I don't want. I don't enjoy that. Like, I like seeing something coming, avoiding it, and then knowing a second thing can come or is coming, and it becomes very obvious that it's coming. Like with the lions and the tigers and shit, how they swipe at you twice. They take quite a bit of time to swipe, and if they're gonna swipe again, they take a little bit of time to swipe again. I like that a lot because they don't always swipe a second time, but they do take a little bit of time. And if you're just sitting there, you keep your composure, you're patient, you'll see it happen, and you'll be good to go. You know, you can respond to it. It's within your human abilities to do. I like that a lot. Not this kind of random, you know, what's the attack gonna be sort of thing. I don't like that at all. And then sometimes they don't attack at all. They're just like, I could have hit him. You know, it sucks. I hate that so much. But in any case, yeah. Shit. So, listen, I'm a Dark Souls player now. Like, I'm an actual Dark Souls player. I beat the shit out of Dark Souls 2. I'm gonna move on to Bloodborne next. I don't know when I'll start it. I think I'm gonna take a couple days off from streaming just to chill out, because I've basically 8 days back to back to back, you know? And now I got Bloodborne. I kind of need to unwind a little bit, so I might take a day or 2 off and then start jumping on some Bloodborne, and then just kind of do how much of that I can until, you know, Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out. But I don't think I've said it enough times that I super appreciate you guys hanging out. Like, you know, Infected, you've helped out a ton. Vice, you've been around. I've seen you a few times. You've helped out a lot. You know, there's a bunch of dudes that aren't here right now that have helped out a ton, and I love it. Like, I really used a lot of that help. Like, it helped. I think I'd have probably like 80 hours on my save file right now if I didn't have that help, because I would just be running around in circles like, where's the door? Like, what do I do? You know, I had to look online for the last DLC because nobody knew where to go. Like, they were not familiar enough with that DLC, and it's a big, wide place. So I had to look it up. I'd be like, what am I missing here? Like, what's this shit going down? And yeah, I finally found out where I was missing. But, you know, it's really great that you guys helped out. It's super great. I hope to see you guys when Dark Souls 3 comes around. And, you know, more honestly, I hope to just see you guys stop by when I play other stuff. Because, you know, I got tons coming down. I love playing. I love talking about games. And, you know, it'd be really fun. But I understand a lot of you guys are kind of just here for Dark Souls. You're here to watch a new player get the shit beat out of them on Dark Souls. Well, I finally beat the shit out of Dark Souls 2, so I get to return the favor to the series. I beat the ass of this game, and now I gotta go figure out how to beat the ass of Bloodborne, which is gonna be weird. Now I get to go from Dark Souls, after learning how this plays, to Bloodborne, which has like a pistol in it that you shoot people with, but you kind of interrupt people with it rather than actually shoot them. I don't know. It's really weird. But I've seen some of it, so I think I can figure it out. I probably won't enjoy it as much because I actually like the look of Dark Souls more than what Bloodborne is. But I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'm looking forward to playing a game that's actually a PS4 game, too. You know? It's a unique type of thing. Maybe it'll be more your things that they pretty much completely eliminated shield blocking. Maybe. It may be. It is an aggressive, that's what people say, it's a more of an aggressive game. It isn't that I hate blocking or parrying. I like that stuff. It's just I wanted to dual wield. That's all. That's literally all it was. And I could have got like a rapier in my offhand and still parried. But I just wanted to fuck off. You know, I love dual wield in a lot of my games, and I just wanted to do it. Now that I've done it, I am so for just playing whatever. Like when Dark Souls 3 hits, I'm gonna play whatever I get, whatever's in my hand. You know, sword, shield, axe, you know, two-hand, whatever. Just whatever feels like it's gonna get me the best results is what I'll do. Definitely. Pistol is a bite like your parry and DS. Interesting. Oh, it's a bit like a parry and DS. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah. All right. It'll be interesting. It should be fun. I look forward to it. So yeah. Damn. There's a couple of you guys hanging out here. So, you know, again, just super thank you. Like super thank you. Oh shit. Dan Hooley 1998, thank you. Oh man, thanks for the follow, my man. What's up with the Twitch alert there? Did that look kind of weird to anybody else? Did it actually not make a sound? I didn't get an alert. Whatever. It's no big deal. But thank you, man. Thank you for the follow. If you guys want to spam chat with an emote, you know, welcome him aboard. Feel free. But yeah, I'm pretty much done. I'm wrapping this up. I'm kind of basking in the glow of having beaten a game, you know, that I haven't beaten. It feels really good. I'm glad I did this. I'm really happy that I got through Dark Souls 2. I'm ready for Dark Souls 3. I'm ready for it. You know, whenever it drops, I feel like I can go in there with a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of skill with rolling and stuff like that. I'll probably have to pick up learning like how to block and stuff, but you know, I'm cool. I'm cool letting that be the way it is. You know, maybe I'll play Dark Souls 1 or fucking Demon Souls at some point if I get bored enough. But honestly, you know, I don't know. Right now it's all about Bloodborne, so damn. It feels really good to beat a game. Like it's just the general feel of like I beat a game, you know? Like it doesn't even matter if I loved it or hated it. I beat it. Like even when I beat Styx, I hated the shit out of that game. It felt good to beat it. Like it felt good to be done with that fucking game. Man, it felt good to be done with that game. Oh my god. I hated that game so much. Oh man. Yeah, who knows what they'll do with blocking and rolling. That's right. You know, they could change a lot of things. It sounds like adaptability is not going to be in it, which is pretty different. Like, I mean, that's pretty different. Anyways, let me reset my stream a little bit because... not reset, but I'm going to change the camera angle a little. I'm going to mess around a bit with that. Is there any questions you guys had that you want to ask? Like, is there anything you want to say? I'm here to talk. Like, I love this shit, you know? Now, normally I don't have the camera like this. That's what I was going to say. Oh my god, the evil within. Oh my god, I'm so glad that was done. I'm so glad that was done. That was so ass. Man, that was so ass. That fucking game. Oh my god. I'm so happy that I don't have to play that game again. Okay, I need to change this camera here. Now, normally this camera is not this way. It's usually, I actually have it flipped. So I gotta unflip my camera. It looks weird to me this way. I'm not used to it. Flip horizontal. Yeah, this is how it usually looks. Also, I could do this, which would be fucking baller as hell. Someone like I'm doing handstands right now. You know, I'm holding myself up. There we go. Yeah. So usually I have this down and out of the way over here somewhere, kind of like that. So I'll probably, yeah, I guess I'll just leave it over here, right? Yeah, I could I'm gonna put it down here for now. Just get it out of the way. Yeah, there we go. Oh shit. I just got the sound for that follow. Thank you for that follow earlier. Thank you, round number 2. I don't know why it took so long to get that sound, but whatever. Twitch alerts is probably goofing up. But, oh, Bloodborne. Delay the ground a little bit for Bloodborne. I'll figure out where to put the camera, you know, wherever. I'll figure out a good spot for it. It might have to actually be where I just had it. We'll see. I actually like having my camera like this a little better. I'm used to it that way. But I will not have myself on camera for Bloodborne. I will have it right over here. Let me pull out the camera bit a little bit more for you here. Okay, you see all that? So this shit right here is a green screen. And I'm going to have my dog here. Where he's been here like the last 8 days. I've just been a shithead and had the camera on me. Bloodborne will have the dog. I will have the dog for Bloodborne. I think you guys have had enough of my ugly mug. And frankly, you're going to hear the frustrations out of Bloodborne if I have them. And I'm going to have them. But you don't need to see my face for that. And I know Croker has been like fucking down my throat to see the goddamn dog. So that will be the standard. I promise that's the standard. You'll see the dog again. Other than that, like, I don't really know what else to say. It's it should be pretty fun. Again, I'll probably take a couple days off. Just keep an eye on my Twitter. You can hit up my Twitter page every once, like, I don't know, once a day or something, and see if I post, okay, I'm chilling today, or something like that. You don't even need to follow. But yeah, obviously, if you're following on Twitch, you're gonna get notified and blah, 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 blah. I don't need to tell anybody that shit. Whew. One of the lower corners should be good. Yeah, I like this spot. I don't have weapons to quick swap, so it's probably fine to be down here. But also, because the dog, you see how there's a green screen here and shit? Like, the dog will be here, and he will not be taking up, like, virtually any of the game. He's just going to be a spot, a white spot somewhere, maybe, like, around about that big or something, you know? Like, I don't even think he's going to be as big as this fucking hat. By the way, for those that were not here for day one of Dark Souls 2, this was the sombrero of shame. I've only worn this thing one time in the history of my video games. Only one time have I worn this hat. In fact, I think I'm wearing it wrong. There we go. Yeah, that's it. I have only worn this hat one time, and it was when I was playing Street Fighter V, and I was waiting literally 7 hours just to play 1 hour of that game. I wore this for a while. It was my sombrero of shame. This was going to come out when I got so frustrated with the game that, like, I was literally looking for something to shove up my ass. This is what this was for. The sombrero of shame was for if I got way too anally devastated playing this game, I would wear this to the point where I want to inflict physical damage on my head, because this actually hurts. This is not a comfortable sombrero. It's old. It was gotten from, like, fucking, not Taiwan, but the other place. I can't fucking remember. It's old as shit. It's so old. And it just does nothing but sit around. So it's now my sombrero of shame. And I'm super proud that I have never had to worn it for this game. I was super good with it. But anyways, as I was saying, like, this is about as big as my dog, you know? That's about it right here. I mean, the dog's going to be taking up about maybe that much space, you know? And that's all that's going to be on the screen. So, not a big deal. But yeah, no sombrero of shame. I totally passed it out. All bueno. Good shit, guys. That's really good. Man, I'm super happy. I'm feeling good. You know, I'm gonna go to Jack in the Box. I'm gonna get a big, thick, ultimate bacon cheeseburger. It's a big ass one. I'm gonna order an extra patty for it. Extra patty, ultimate bacon cheeseburger. I'm gonna need a side or something. Sometimes I get a shake, but you know, I don't want to be doing that. I gotta get something else. But I'm gonna eat the shit out of whatever I get at Jack in the Box. I'm going to love it. I might smother it on my belly. I might do something like that while I'm eating it. Like, I'll put the burger on a table or something, and I'll just, you know, while I'm rubbing my belly. Like, that's how good I feel. That I would do something so ridiculous. So I'm probably going to go jump on that. I have Bloodborne already installed and everything, so once we decide to go at it, we should just be able to pop it in and be good. Not going to do that for a couple days. Well, I say a couple days. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe the day after. You know, kind of want to chill. So, I think I said my piece. I'm pretty good. Who's hanging out right now? Is there anybody I recognize besides Infected and Vice? Dan Hui. I hope I'm saying that name right. Dan Hui 1998. Thanks for joining me tonight, dude. You know, there's a lot of people I would love to thank, but they're just not here tonight, and it's okay. I really hope that I get to see them later. Enjoy it while the post Dark Souls high lasts. Oh yes, yes. It's definitely a high, and I definitely enjoy it. Like I get it all the time with fucking video games. You know, like when I play like a fighting game. When I'm playing a fighting game and I do really well, like I get high from that too. This is what I feel. Like it just feels good. Like all that hard work paid off. You know. Man, oh man. I feel like I should say. I feel like I should have some words for this, but I don't really know how to say it. I'm thinking. I'm so certain that I have something that would be so appropriate for the moment right now. You know. I think I do have it.
Double chili fries!
Yeah. Double chili fries. That is definitely how I feel right now. Double chili fries is how I feel right now.
Thank God for Samuel! Thank God for the machine! Thank God!
Thank God. Thank God. Alright, I'll go get that burger. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thank you again, Infected, and Vice, and Dan, and just everybody. Everybody who stopped in the last 8 days of Dark Souling. Newbie, I have my Dark Souls hymen busted, so I'm gonna go bask in that feeling for some time now. Maybe I'll catch you guys tomorrow, probably a couple days from now. So, thanks again. Have a great night, day, whatever it is for you, and I will.